G'day. How are you?
Really good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. We are here at the
Very
grand final. How are you feeling?
nervous for them a little bit. I'm pretty sure that they're nervous too. But yeah, I can't wait to see what they've come up with.
Yeah, yeah. So we've gone through, started with 64 participants, it's been chopped down through voting from the industry. They've done things like compliance, resources, just in time. This one is on innovation. Well, how would you describe the journey so far?
Well, I think that the learners we've certainly seen. Well, these ones that are in the grand final, we've seen a great standard from the beginning. So I'm not surprised that they've kind of gone up the ranks and they've come through. But I think we have flawed them a few times. We've talked a little bit about um, different solutions that maybe they're not used to. I think this was something that was a challenge maybe for them. Human centered design isn't something that they maybe have tapped into a lot. So I yeah, I think that this is going to be very, very interesting. I mean, when we're talking about clients who are all in this situation right now, they've got content that's sitting on their LMS, it's not even necessary, or they've got basically content that now is becoming dead because of Flash. Human-centered design actually, I think, is a great topic to talk about because we're starting to think a little bit about how we can work with that content and really identify, do we need this moving forward? And if so, does it need to be SCORM? Can it be something else? So yeah, this was a biggie really. If not, maybe more you're talking about a strategic level. So yeah, it'll be good to see what they've done.
Well, talking about that strategy stuff, I want to introduce one of our keynotes, who is a huge, huge hero of ours. His name is Chris Do. So Chris Do is the keynote, or one of two keynotes, along with Emily Cohen on the 5th of August for that USA time zone. He is an exceptional human being, but plays in that space of strategy, does things like negotiation, difficult conversations, all the marketing, branding. How do you go from order taker to partnering or being a strategic thinker and really demonstrating your value on how you solve business problems? He's an Emmy award-winning designer. He's like worked with Nike and Honda and Xbox and Sony as his clients. What are you like? Give a reflection of the impact that he's had on your life, Kath.
Well, Christo, both of us have been kind of talking about Christo for a few years now, Kim, and he's been a game changer in the sense that he's given me so much more confidence to go in and pitch at a rate that I think is more appropriate for the job that I'm working on. Yeah. So we get really hung up on giving rates such as, well, I don't really do hourly rates, but even just pitching on a job. And it doesn't matter if that job is a not-for-profit or if that job is a huge organization. What Chris does is he really talks a little bit about value-based pricing rather than pricing just for a job. What value are you actually creating for a business? And it's something e-learning isn't doing enough of, in my opinion. We really just pitch on that project, but we don't really think about what value are we creating for that business and how our services can, we can expand on just that little parcel, that little cube that's making up their project. So, it's taught me to strategically think a lot different, in a different way. So that's been great. And just all the business thinking, really, the way that he talks about marketing yourself. I mean, we both have our own businesses. I'm a freelancer. You have a company. But we it certainly helped me in many, many ways. What about you, Kim?
Oh, unbelievable. If I say one person Actually, the two heroes that have helped my career, running a business in instructional design and being an instructional designer, are keynotes, and that is Christo and Kathy Moore. Her from the practical skill level, but yeah, the things that Christo does is unbelievable, and you should check out his YouTube because he gives away a lot of his content for free, role plays, they have like how-to videos. So it's the future spelled Futur, Instagram. They've got the courses, they've just got podcasts, so much value. And it's incredible. Like, honestly, if you want to be a badass business person and move away from like freelancers don't earn that much money, you need to check him out. But in his keynote, it's a keynote unlike what you would traditionally see because we will be focusing on Q&A and role play. It's really easy to be told like, you need to say these things. But what we really want to demonstrate and what Chris is king at is really showing you when those objections come from a client. And we're talking internal and external. So it could be a stakeholder within the organization you work in. He's really good at pushing back when there's gray areas or there's objections. So we're going to get into that to help you with things like when you get a budget that's too low for the expected output, scope creep management with stakeholders. I'm sure you're all going to love that. And responding to tight or unrealistic deadlines that are presented by your stakeholder. So it's brilliant. If you're watching, we need some active participation right now. Open another browser or hit pause. Go get your ticket to the learning conference. Make sure you join Chris on that day. It's going to be epic. It's just one of the amazing things. But I think we should get into the show.
Oh, do you know what? I'm so excited to announce this guest because when I started, basically when I was thrown in the deep end, when I started e-learning at Victoria Police, I actually remember David's website was one of them that I found that just started giving me inspiration. And I'm talking about years ago, David, you know what I mean? So I'm just so excited to have you here. I love the work that you do on e-learning. I'm going to get it wrong now. E-learning locker, locker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, just I love the tutorials you've got. I've bought examples. I've gone in and I've bought some of the templates. Like you really just hack things to death. And when Kim says, you know, why are we choosing David Charney? You know, tell me, give me, you know, the argument, you know, why is he worthy of the grand final? And I was like, because he's just the bloody best. Like, look at his stuff. It's awesome. So yeah, it just huge fan of yours, David.
Well, thank you so much. I've always loved just exploring stuff, and it's just, you know, like all of you, it's like one thing you like to explore stuff, but the other part of you want to tell people about it and explore it with them, you know, and plus making YouTube videos and all that is helpful to myself too, because I'll forget how I do any of this stuff and I can look back and remember how to do things. But yeah, I really appreciate you checking out my stuff, and I'm always looking at everyone else's stuff. We're just all working together to create cool stuff.
Yeah. That's a good way to think of it, actually, archiving your process on YouTube. It's like, oh, damn it, I forgot how to do that. Let me go back and watch my tutorial.
I have literally searched to try to find how to do something, and I had already done it.
Yeah.
And I forgot, so.
And you're like, here's my tutorial again. Good to see me again doing my great stuff. All right. This brief, people, is from Michael. Michael is a change manager at Unity Bank. So he starts his email with, as you know, Flash, is not going to be supported as of December 2020. He's been brought into Unity Bank to assist them to transition all their learning content into a supported format. Unity Bank currently has over 50 SCORM packages on their LMS. The majority of these modules have long durations and content is very repetitive. That doesn't sound familiar at all. Using a human-centered design approach, we need someone who can assess our current content and help us identify what would be the best direction for us to move forward. The directive that I've been given is for us to be innovative. We would like to deliver smarter in the way we design and deliver our new content. Please, can you provide an estimate of how much your solution would be, explain how it would be implemented at Unity Bank, and present your findings in a video to us via Loom. If you have any questions, holla! And then these are some of the details that are included. So basically they've just got a generic LMS and they're going to continue using it. They have 230 customer facilities across the US. His staff, or the staff at Unity Bank, are aged between 18 to 65. For the budget, they're not sure. And basically the criteria for those voting at home for the grand finalist to be the best learning designer of 2020 as part of the show, basically you need to vote. Have Amanda and Shirleen met the brief? How do you rate their instructional design approach? And what are your thoughts on their budget? Dun, dun, dun. We need some grand music now, but it's time to have a look at the submissions.
Based on your brief, I'm going to be honest and let you know that converting 50 plus flash courses to a supported format won't really solve the current problems. If your employees are feeling that the current e-learning is non-beneficial, repetitive, boring and long, this is an opportunity to have a strategic game plan to move forward. I'm going to show you how you can go from 50 plus flash courses to creating a culture of learning using a strategic game plan. This means understanding your employees and putting them at the center of your design process to spark innovative solutions. My solution is to create real impact with Project Phoenix. Project Phoenix is about leaving the long and repetitive courses in the ashes and rise the phoenix of innovation. I will be using Notion as the project application where I will map a blueprint using the human-centered design approach. The game plan will include an onboarding process for new project members, a project roadmap, tasks, guides, and processes. There will be a detailed breakdown of the human-centered design approach, which will include my recommendations, tools, methods, and templates. In the first phase, I'll be supporting you through the content review. This is where we analyze the current content, if it's still relevant, who owns the content, if it's a compliance piece, etc. Then we go deep into the inspiration phase in understanding Unity employees, eliminating any assumptions and extracting key data. In the next phase of ideation, I'll guide your team through synthesizing your findings to generate potential solutions. Based on the brief so far, I could think of a few solutions, such as a knowledge base for your workplace policies, or an integrated chatbot to find product knowledge for technical training, or even a scenario-based game to help guide employees through dealing with difficult customers. There are so many solutions. That's the purpose of this phase, to test your idea with the intended audience. You can come up with the most innovative solution, but if it doesn't meet the needs of your users, there is no impact. Finally, you can release your solution out into the Unity Bank world. Monitor and evaluate the solution. Keep on getting feedback to continually refine it. In terms of budget, if you want just Project Phoenix, it will be a $10,000 one-off fee. This includes the Project Phoenix setup, access to Notion, the web app, templates, guides, methods, recommended approaches for each phase, and a 2-week learning consulting support with me. And if you want more, there'll be an additional cost for design and development of a solution, learning design coaching for your team, consulting support through inspiration, ideation, and the implementation phases. By utilizing Project Phoenix, you'll be able to design efficiently, deliver new content, but most importantly, create a culture of learning through enhanced learning experiences for Unity employees.
So what did you think?
I mean, I am certainly handling the redevelopment of a lot of Flash courses right now, and I love the idea of taking that step back and redoing something that'll probably in a few years have to be redone anyway.
Yeah, this is brilliant because I think it'd be very easy to just go, yeah, we'll just convert them, and you have the existing files, what condition are they in, we'll just put them into another articulate or a RISE course. But I think Amanda's done a really great job of a human-centered design approach. She called out that, you know, I don't think converting is the best reason or approach that you should be doing. And this is, you know, this is what I'm thinking. So based on what we spoke about last time with the why in the proposal, I can see that you've considered that, like the why, the direction that you're headed, and then how you're going to do it. I think that little map where you were like, this is your current state, and then this is where I'm going to take you, was a really beautiful visual for the client. I love that you've named it like Project Phoenix. It gets you all like, rise from the ashes, like that language. I just think that brings your personality out. It just shows that you're not just there to like do a job, you're a human being. And I just think that's really reflective of kind of how you would work with you. What else have I got? I love that you're going in. I think this is really human-centered design, is analyze the existing content, see what it's about, where is it at, what's actually useful, what's not. So you're basically mapping it all out to understand the current pain points, challenges, current situation, and then where the organization needs to be in the future. And you have painted a visual for clients to kind of see what is possible. You've mentioned a few examples like the chatbot, but you're not guaranteeing anything because you can't right now. You use the HCD language, which is cool. You've got the learning consultant support. And I think that you did a really good job, and this would be what I would do as well, is not quoting on the what it's going to take afterwards. You're just quoting on the analysis. Understand, because that is a whole unknown world that you don't know, and you're not in the place to quote right now. So I think you've done well to hold back on that and go, that's phase 2. And over to you, Kath.
Yeah, look, just an amazing job, Amanda. I mean, I loved your language. I loved the visuals on the front page, how you've you're just showing them what they're going from. You're using his keywords, boring, you know, long, and you're showing them the map through to an e-learning culture where you've got a lot of positivity. These are things that maybe they need a lot of education on, which is obviously this first stage of this project. I love how you're using Notion and how you've been able to basically build a hub for the project that they can obviously go in and they can collaborate with you on the project. So yeah, I'm very, very impressed. I mean, certainly whether you had a background in human-centered design or not, it looks like you've done your research. You've certainly been able to articulate it. And on Notion here, this is going to be very, very useful for the client, for them to understand the different stages of human-centered design. I mean, obviously, we're seeing a certain level here, but if you've done, I can imagine that if this was a real project, you would go into the roadmap and they would basically be able to see the framework of how you're going to do this. And I just think, yeah, it's a great piece of work. Agree with Kim as well on not putting a full price on the end solution, because it's going to change, right? So, you know, I like that you've put a cost on doing the consultation and you've literally broken down what I'm going to do. So that's 2 weeks work. So it's priced fairly low, but for 2 weeks work, that makes a lot of sense, because it's a bit like a puzzle now. Whatever work they want on top of that would just build the cost of that project. So yeah. What do you think, Kim?
Yeah, I think you could do the work in 2 weeks. It'd be a busy week, busy 2 weeks. Would you be the only person doing it? I think something like that, I'd probably want to bounce ideas off another person as well, to just validate, am I doing this right? Or there'd be a lot of detail. I imagine there's probably spreadsheets and stuff that go on. It'd be a busy 2 weeks, but I think you could do it. And at the output, like you're saying, you'd know this is the plan moving forward. This is what you'd be able to make recommendations basically. And I think the client would be happy, especially when this is a change manager. They would understand that lingo and that process of how projects happen.
So how I look at this is like, okay, so there's a $10,000 fee. She'd set up Project Phoenix with the project team.
Yeah.
Access to Notion, templates, guides, methods, recommendation approaches, 2 weeks learning consultation, but she hasn't gone in and made any additional promises such as, you know, interviews and things like that. She's really just taken the lead as the strategist at this point on the way forward. She's giving them the tools on basically for them to either choose to do it or for her to continue on that journey. And that's good.
Yeah. David, any things you, like you said, you're working on this kind of stuff at the moment. Any thoughts on, you know, what you might take away and implement to the next client that comes to you and says, we have 50 e-learning flash projects we'd like to convert?
Well, I mean, it's definitely, you know, when someone's at this point, especially, you know, converting 50 plus flash courses, they have to spend some money to do that. So money is going to be spent, and they're doing this so these modules can be, this information can be there longer term. So yeah, I mean, it just makes so much sense to, you know, take a look at all this stuff, because likely when these were built, it being flash, it was most likely built a while back. Things I'm sure have changed, and they're already probably going to make some changes to this content. So might as well take a look at, you know, it may even be possible that you end up spending less money, you know, with this approach overall, than trying to convert 50 modules, because there's so many, you know, you might recognize all sorts of different ways to present that information, or that, you know, oh, you know, all this stuff is not even relevant anymore, or we can focus them on this, or there's, you know, of course, there's so many different ways to learn now online. So yeah, I like this a lot. And like you said, I really like breaking it down into those phases, because you don't want to like complete guess just to get a project. You're being realistic about it, and you're saying, let's do this the right way. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I think as well, like when you are responding to a scope, like the briefs in the show, breaking it down into the stages, the phases, really helps you understand what people are asking for. And then you're able to go, this is what it's going to take. This is what I need to consider. So it's almost a good practice for yourself to get into, to then be able to articulate that back to the client as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very hard to answer these briefs, Kim, because we've given them so little information. They did ask questions. They did a great job, both of them, asking further questions, and we wanted to see that. But it still was fairly, you know, cloudy, wasn't it? So I think we would get, you know, it is a really difficult thing to do a quote for. And I'd hate to be doing a quote for something like this, because I'd feel like, how am I going to get screwed on this project, you know? So that's how I feel sometimes when I'm doing a quote. I've got to be really careful. And I think that this was well thought out in what she's promised from the pricing structure. And I think it's enough of a, you know, it's a taster. So if that client, us, you know, Unity Bank, if we were looking at this and we were saying, okay, you know, she's giving us the price for this start, there's no harm in that client then going back and saying, okay, yep, so how much might it be for this and for this and for this? So yeah, good, really good. Well
done, Amanda. Really good.
Awesome job. Shall we take a look at Shirleen's solution?
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right.
Hi, Michael. We chat about using a human-centered design approach to help you migrate the 50 plus courses into something more innovative. Our goal is to work with you to discover that innovative solution and help you implement it by December 2020. How are we going to do this? We will transform your team into innovative thinkers, so together we will create a groundbreaking learning solution. To apply human-centered design is to have the right mindset. We need to embrace the ambiguity while putting our learners in the center of everything we do. We don't know the answer at the start, but we need to have the confidence and optimism that this process will bring out the right solution. The 5-month project involved 4 phases: inspiration, ideation, iteration, and implementation. As you can see on the timeline, the process will feel a bit chaotic, but you need to trust it. In the inspiration phase, we try to understand learners' needs and aspirations. We interview learners and immerse into their daily work. In the ideation phase, we develop insights from our findings and generate as much ideas as possible, such as what are the learning design tools that might work, what instruction design approach that might suit. We then pick top ideas that might work best. At the iteration stage, we do rapid prototype, we let the learners to use it, and iterate based on their feedback. We also look at the business model canvas to review funding, resources, or partnerships to implement the solution. For example, do we need to outsource additional learning designers, or perhaps partnering with e-learning agencies? The last phase is the implementation stage. We define what success means for us, and finally, delivering our learning solution. As we progress, we continue to receive feedback and iterate. Last but not least, we have 3 different proposals for you. The first option is the foundation. It's where we provide intensive coaching sessions throughout the inspiration and ideation phases. You and your team will feel confident to apply human-centered design principles and lead the rest of the phases. Second option is the transformation. We coach your team on human-centered design principles. We also lead and manage the project end-to-end while your team collaborates with us. You will have learners that enjoy better learning experience and a learning and development team that has transformed into innovative thinkers. The last option is the accelerator. We do everything that is included in the foundation and transformation with additional 7-month accelerator program that will transform your team into human-centered design specialists. And that's it. I hope that makes sense, and looking forward to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Okay, so what did you think of Shirleen's submission?
I mean, I thought it was great. I mean, it's so important in this to express the process, and I thought it was like an excellent presentation of that process. I mean, it's like when you can be engaging just in your presentation of the process, I think that's, you know, going a long way for someone to recognize what they're going to get from a project, especially one that you have no idea what it's going to actually be. So I think this just like is just a wonderful presentation of not only what it is, but what it can be professionally. You know, it's quality. It's a quality presentation. I really also like the idea of having options, especially if, you know, because I do a lot of business stuff, and, you know, you talk to people and you don't always know what the budgets are going to be. You know, so it's like if you can kind of provide some different approaches, and in this case, you know, there's levels of amounts of work that could be done in providing, you know, a good order of magnitude for someone looking at this to start thinking about, you know, what they need to, where they might end up needing as far as budget and time. And of course, a project like this, anything to do with Flash right now, time is an important consideration. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Beth, what about you?
Well, I loved that. So we've seen 2 different approaches. This approach was more corporate looking. Certainly, the the choices of imagery that she used. Remember, so Unity Bank it seems like it's a community bank in America. She's got, one thing Shirleen has always done is picked really great, diverse imagery in her presentation. So I loved her imagery that she has chosen. I love the graphics. So if you think about this, she's got the image on this page here, July through to December. So she's showing that this can be achieved between now and that cutoff date in December. She's thought a great deal about the services that she's offering. So I love that she, I can see this price point working because she's saying, I'm going to do intensive coaching sessions for you and your team so that they can have a human-centered design mindset. So we know that that's not going to happen in 2 weeks. So we've got 2 different solutions with 2 totally different offerings. I agree with David. The way that she went through the whole process was, I thought, very informative and very, very engaging. I couldn't stop kind of reading all of the different milestones, and I felt like I was learning a great deal. I don't know about you guys, if you felt that way. Yeah, I was really captivated by this one. So Kim, I'll put over to you, and I'm sure we'll come back.
Yeah. Again, fantastic job, definitely. I think what I've seen from both of you is confidence to speak to your clients. What you've done with both of you going through it is really articulated very clearly, and I think you're demonstrating credibility and also building trust in the way that you're communicating. Shirleen, I think, building on what Kat said, being able to call out, we can achieve this by 2020. I think at December, the end of the year, when it does all die, is really important, because the business Unity would be panicking, and they're like, okay, does that mean on the 1st of January, if we don't have it done, we're at risk of being sued or issues with compliance? So I think it's really important that you have demonstrated that you can achieve that when they need it, so that it's stress-free post that, and it's kind of like at the end of the year, we're done. I think you do a very great job at demonstrating your human-centered design knowledge, and that would give someone like Michael the confidence in you that using your language and how you've communicated, he's obviously, it's very clear when people say we want a human-centered design approach, that they already get it, and they're looking for someone that gets it too, that they don't have to teach. So I think you have demonstrated your understanding and how you would be able to contribute to what they're trying to achieve. The journey is brilliant as well, and I love, like, although you've called it out, this looks chaotic, but just trust it. And I think you can do that because it is a huge project. And so it's okay to do things like that. And even just little tweaks that you've got in there in terms of, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is the phase, then we move on. That really just helps people go, she's thought about this, and it looks like it's going to be stress less on our end because she's got good project management skills by the look of it. And then I just love little things like how you've called it, the accelerator, the transformation. I think things like that really just win clients over. That's all I got at this point.
It also looks like Shirleen has got some links in this document as well. So when you guys are all out there voting and you go into the when you go into this PDF and you're reviewing Shirleen's work, you can actually see the links, what Shirleen has shared with Michael to help him make his decision. I mean, look, I feel like both of these submissions were absolutely fantastic. Both took a very different direction as far as they visually looked. We've got Amanda's, which is very, very engaging, very fun. And you've got this that's a little bit more corporate, but there's no right or wrong with this. Both of the approaches are very, very strong. Both of the offerings are very, very different. And we are not going to give you any indication which one we like or which one we like both of them, don't we, guys?
Brilliant. Yeah.
So I'll come back over to us all so that we can chat together about this.
Yeah, exceptional job, both of you, Amanda and Shirleen. Really proud of your journey. Like, you've inspired all of us and all the people watching. So be proud. What you've put in today just really demonstrates a very strong caliber of you guys as consultants and also instructional designers. So that's my end piece. Very well done.
And like David said, there's lots of organizations that are in this position right now. And, you know, I think that as learning designers, this is now the time to really be able to talk to companies about, you know, when did someone last look at this module? You know, is this doing anything for you? You know, let's start doing data analysis. Let's, you know, if it's just a nice to have, you know, is it necessary? You know, is it necessary for us to spend all this money and time doing a conversion? So I think that, you know, this is actually, you know, if we had done the show this time last year, Kim, I think that this would have been great for businesses who maybe haven't gone this direction, because I certainly am hearing about businesses that are in panic stations right now. And even worse, I'm going to put it out there on the show, that you've got very, very bad situations. Like, I was reached out to via a platform to privately bid on a, well, it wasn't even bidding, it was just, would you like to apply to do this work? So a vendor has essentially been given a contract to do 50 e-learning modules and is charging $300 per module and wants a module built a day. And what this does is this means that people aren't doing this analysis and working out what they need. They're panicking. They go to a vendor, and then a vendor does something shoddy, in my opinion, which is, well, I'll just get a load of freelancers really cheap and we'll convert this stuff. And I actually don't think the end solution is going to be beneficial at all for that business, because they're just churning out what was there, whatever format that was. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen this kind of thing, David, but it grates me to the core, you know, when I see this kind of thing. And I feel like we just need to work on really identifying what is required in a business and building richer learning experiences and getting rid of the rubbish. You know, could this be posters? Could this be a screensaver? Could this be, you know, can we change these conversations and use them in Yammer or have them in Microsoft Teams, you know, and have more social learning? So yeah, I don't know, but this is what I'm seeing out there, and I think that this was a good opportunity to show an example of what we can do if we're getting to that pointy end of the stick.
And you know, I mean, I don't know if it's really the worst case scenario, but ultimately, yeah, you might realize that what you have is great. Maybe it's just one course, or maybe it's, you know, not 50, but something that you need to convert. And you might ultimately say, you know, everyone's really loved this. This has worked great. But to even spend a week to analyze it and understand it and break it apart and relook at what it even is. Why is it even something someone has to learn? You know, it's necessary to know how do you know it's even something that you want to spend the money to convert? So I think a lot of people are trying to figure that out now. And I think every week, you know, you get a little closer to the end of the year, more and more people are like, I got a bunch of stuff that's not going to work anymore. And so yeah, but these are great. These are great explorations of what you could do.
Yeah. And what I'd say, sorry, Kim, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as some post-learning, Kathy Moore has a blog on Is Training Actually the Answer? So go, if this is piquing your curiosity, go read that blog, because as we've seen throughout the show, training is not always the answer, or e-learning is not always the solution.
No, but I, you know, what I'd say is you guys have done an absolute phenomenal job coming through the show. Every one of you, all participants, we have had so much feedback through, you know, LinkedIn. The majority of you are talking to us on LinkedIn and telling us just how much you're learning from the show. This has been an experiment. You know, we haven't had this kind of e-learning competition before. We are so proud of all of you who got as far as you did. I know that there's always got to be two winners, one winner. But if we can ask for you guys to go behind, root for these guys, go vote for them, who you think is going to be the Learning Designer of the Year 2020. We're going to be awarding either Shirleen or Amanda at the Learning Conference, which is going to be, our ceremony is on the 5th, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's Christo comes on.
Yeah, so right before Christo. So we're going to be announcing to everybody who is the winner of the show, which is very, very exciting. And please root for them, go vote, and, reach out to them, share, ask them further questions. And, we hope that this has been something that you guys have enjoyed. We do.
Yeah, so you can vote, link in the description of the video. To our guest, David, thank you for the value you brought, your insights, and for being here. And to end it out, thank you everyone for watching the show. We appreciate it. We know that you're learning. Continue to rewatch them. There's so much. I know some of you are still in like the first briefs, but all of the briefs that have come through are literally things that Kath and I get from clients out in the world. So they're very realistic. That's why they are the way they are, because we think that you can really learn by doing them, asking more questions. So we encourage you to revisit them all the time, take them on, build your portfolio, start reflecting on how you can be a better business owner or instructional designer. But thank you for your support throughout the show. Thanks everyone for watching.
Adios.